Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Monday Night Therapy. Tonight, I'm your host, Minnie Hunt, and I have with me our favorite superstar from chat, Fred Sacco. Again, welcome, Fred.
Hello, everybody.
What is the deal? I never called you out on this little tagline that you put underneath.
Oh, it's a long story that would take forever, so we'll just leave it at that.
Well, okay, come on. Certainly, you can condense it for us.
Eons ago, I worked at a company and I had a bad boss that didn't like me. And then I put in my 2 weeks. And in my tagline, my signature, autosig for emails, I put the people's champion. And so everything I sent out said the people's champion. And I put it in my Slack avatar, whatever it was at the time back in the mid 2000s, just to be a pain. But some of my friends that worked with me at the time, they pushed it. And they're like, yeah, people's champ. So it became a thing and it's stuck with me ever since.
Okay. See, that's easy. That was quick. It was a good little sound bite. It's like we got it, the gist of it. And I agree, you are the people's champ. I mean, it's this whole reason probably that a lot of us enjoy being part of the chat here so much. So, and I see that you were
it's all one big thing. I'm happy to be a part of it. So
you're so nice. I see that you've already been busy chatting away, and we have Highlander Gunn here first. You were second, and then Roger Moore always wants to know what the beer choice is. I have a feeling that Roger Moore likes beer because he not only asked this on Thursday nights, now he's starting to ask it on Monday nights. So, do you have a beer choice?
I have Moss from Keg Creek over in Glenwood.
Oh.
So it's like what Dylan says when he's asking for more donuts or more tortillas at a restaurant, like Moss, give me more. So it's a great Mexican lager though. It's really good. And it's local. So
is the reason you chose a Mexican lager because it is Cinco de Mayo?
Oh, I didn't even realize it was. My God. Wow. Very fortuitous. You have a neutral or whatever that's. Oh, good Lord. Jesus Christ.
Of course. I come ready. I'm prepared.
Wow.
I love living here in Arizona, one of my favorite things is mariachi bands. I love it when you go to a Mexican food restaurant and they have a mariachi band and they'll just sit there and they'll sing to you and you can request them to come over to your table. It's so fun. And the way they dress, I love it. So happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone.
Indeed. We'll toast it like we do everything else.
And I have a drink, so cheers.
Oh, wow, look at that.
I know.
White Claw. Did they have a Cinco de Mayo White Claw, or is that just...
I have no idea. Probably. I'm sure they do. Okay, and guess who else is here? Angela Matney, fourth.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we've seen her. Yes. Bring the rest.
Nice. Okay, so then let's see. Oh my gosh, Fred for president. It would be El Presidente.
It would be today. I'm not corrupt enough to be any kind of government person or anything. So as awful as I can be with like my double entendres in chat, it's like I'm not a bad enough person to be a politician. So we can just imagine, Roger. But if I run, you could be like my vice presidente. That'd be cool.
Presidente. And then James Fordman also says, mas por favor. No, see, this is what happens. Every accent that I try to have turns into an Italian accent.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. That was kind of
Every accent. And you're Italian. I'm not Italian, but I love Italian accents are my favorite. They're my favorite. Okay.
Ooh, Sam Matney's here. Wow.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
I figured out how to see the comments. I'm learning. So
good. Oh, and Tony's here. Ice is outside Minnie's house. So, yeah, that's not even funny. We probably have neighbors that they wouldn't want to see ice. So listen, I have some news. I actually was doing some research on Wisconsin, Tony. Tony's a Wisconsin hater.
Yep, here we go.
Right? And I have to tell you, Tony and Chad, everybody else, this is looking really bad for Wisconsin this season. We're going to have to go into this at another time during the off season. But tonight, we have so much to talk about because of the big news that hit kind of just this morning and then also last night. I mean, it's been a very busy 24-hour news cycle for Nebraska, as well as there were things that were going on this weekend, like volleyball.
A lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
Busy, considering it's the off season, as it were.
I know. Okay, so I figure we might as well just start with what's on everybody's mind, and that is this whole thing with Michigan, you guys. Michigan, and if you haven't heard, Michigan, they put out that they are expecting to self-inflict a 2-game suspension on Sherrone Moore, their head coach, because of his involvement with the Connor Stalions situation. They're trying to get ahead of the punishment, if you will. And by doing that, they get to pick which games they're suspending him for. And of all the games to suspend him for, one of them is when they're coming to Nebraska on September 20th.
Yeah, you kind of have to wonder about that. I didn't know they got to choose. I saw that it was the 3rd and 4th, and I saw Oklahoma was not. So it's like, it's interesting to me that they apparently, I guess logically speaking, if I don't want to be a angry Nebraska fan that's hurt by everything, logistically speaking, you might want to have him in for the first 2 games to get a flow. You beat Oklahoma wherever they're going to be ranked because that's a name. It sounds good. Then by that time, they've had 2 weeks of prep. Then they can kind of go on autopilot without Moore on board.
Uh-huh.
And who even knows what's there? Like, honestly, does somebody monitor that? I don't know. Like, I just wonder what happens when you're not supposed to be a part of it.
Oh,
who's around to, like, are there agents for the NCAA watching? Like, I don't know. So then that gets to us, and then they skate on. It's all window dressing, these little penalties to self-sanction. It's like, it's nothing to me. Whatever. Hopefully we just kick their ass and we have to think about it.
They went 8-5 last season.
Yeah. And again, that was good, but that's what happens when you don't steal signals all the time. So it's like, but then Moore was deleting texts. And so again, you get to the cover up is worse than the crime kind of a thing.
Or is it?
Yeah.
There's a reason you're deleting texts.
Yeah, right in the heart of it, and so at first I was thinking Moore was kind of a patsy, like he's cleaning up Harbaugh's mess, but he was complicit too. So it's a shame though that like people like Harbaugh, you can't somehow hit them after the fact, but that's how this works. Pete Carroll had all the stuff at USC and he went to the pro, so it's like, that's just the way it works.
I don't know how I feel about that. I was on another live show today, and they were talking about, somebody brought up a great point, and that is basically to let the punishment fit the crime. And this is what I was saying originally, but I kind of laid off of it because it's like, okay, you're going to have to just let the NCAA deal with it, whatever they will do, whatever they can do, right? It does make perfect sense. If they're able to prove, okay, this is how they went about winning all these games is by, going and having somebody else spy on other teams and get their signals for plays. So you already know what the play is going to be. you win games that way, right? You can win, obviously, by cheating. Then by winning games, you get better athletes to come to your school. And it seems to me like they weren't very good until they started cheating. And then all of a sudden, they're getting this top talent, and people are always like, well, even if they didn't have everyone else's like game plays in front of them, they would have still won the last year. Well, of course they would. They had top talent. But how did they get that top talent?
And the article I read had a breakdown. I don't remember the year span, but they were 30 or they were 40 and 20 something before all that, and then they were 40 and 3 after this alleged thing started happening. So you go
2020.
So you go from what 60, I suck at math, but 60-70% win percentage to 40 and 3. Yeah, so you would think, I don't know, the article had things about level 1 violations versus level 2. Level 1's more severe, but to me, the litmus test is if you look at Penn State with what happened there, and it's like they had something awful happen, and each layer that they had of penalty got slowly pulled back. Oh, you can't go to postseason. Well, you can have a season-ending game in Ireland. Oh, you get recruits cut. Oh, you're going to get those back. Oh, the bowl ban was 5 years, but it got moved back to 2 or whatever. So, like, it felt like they didn't want to just crush them. So with this here, I don't think anything of note will happen to Michigan. They may take a couple of recruits away, something like that, but there won't be any TV bans like back in the SMU days. There won't be anything that strong that will hurt them. So it'll be piddly stuff like this. A coach gets suspended, they lose some recruits. That'll be about it, unless it somehow goes way, way deeper. And they're still investigating, but who knows?
It's interesting how, they're not even going to have a court hearing until June of this year.
Oh.
And they're already getting, like, they're trying to get in front of the punishment. Pitt Snipe Husker says, I just expect coaching staffs to look for every advantage, which is true. Yes, we want that. They crossed a line, make them stop it. Aside from that, I don't care, except that it might give us some kind of advantage. You don't care that could be how they stomped us a couple years ago. Remember, we were winning at halftime. It was like we were up. What was the score? 50 to something.
What? Versus Michigan?
Uh-huh.
No, I thought they pretty much just killed us like the whole way through.
This was, let's see, 20.
In Lincoln, it was bad. It was like, I don't even remember. It was a rough one. I can't Greggle it. My phone's dying. So I think they smoked us, at least the one that I remembered. So I don't really, and we weren't in any position to do anything of note. But 2021. Okay, Roggy. Yeah. So I think that was the year they pummeled us, but I could be wrong.
Well, it was like we were only losing by 3 or something at half. It was actually pretty like even. I do remember that because I remember saying to somebody, and Roger Moore says it too, that I miss those days. What does he say? No, it was not. What was it? Tell me. I forget exactly what it was.
There was the close year when Frost was still here, but I don't know if that coincides with the Connor Stalions thing. Because that was the one we were right there with them because we'd come off the big. We beat somebody. It was a big win, and then we just barely lost to them because we did what we always did. Martinez fumbled, like Roggy said. Yeah, I can't recall. So that was the close game, yes. But then there was the year when Rule was here, and they just flat out, like, it was like 35-3 or something, and then they just went back to, so it did go back to 2021. Okay.
Yep.
Well, there we go.
That's what I thought. Like, it's been the whole time that they've been good.
Oh,
So,
Sam. Yeah, it was the Northwestern was the week before because me and my friends went to that and we thought we were back to prominence and we were going to kill everybody from that point on. And yeah, it didn't happen. Saw the red out. It was super sweet. Yeah. Okay. So back then. So yeah, that is a little more galling. I mean, we still Nebraska it away though, a fumble. I mean,
I
come
mean,
on.
we did. We weren't in any position to really, win because we didn't have it all together, but still, it does tick me off that they had an advantage over us. That wasn't fair. And
Yeah.
I'm sure other teams feel that way that actually had a chance at going to, the playoffs.
Well, and then somebody in the article, it said they were 0-5 against Ohio State prior to this, and then they were 3-0.
Mm.
But again, it also leads to, like you said, they win a couple more, they get better recruits, they build it, and then it feeds on itself. So yeah.
Yeah.
Nice one, Boardman. That's
I
good.
saw that. Go ahead. You got to read it so anybody.
Scott Frost stole signs and hid them. For an example, don't touch the stripper. A handful of clubs I went to, I never really saw a sign that said that. It was just implied, or so I've heard. I don't know.
Okay. Roger, I will definitely be calling for that. Don't worry, we'll get to that. They said also that they will have additional recruiting related penalties because of the whole Jim Harbaugh thing and him, feeding starving children and hamburgers and such.
Yeah, I mean, again, what's that even look like? Reduce recruiting numbers or something, scholarships, perhaps. You just don't
Does it
know.
even matter? Because at this point, I mean, NIL is made up for it. So it doesn't
Yeah.
even matter. What kind of punishment can they actually dole out to be like an example for other teams not to break those rules? I mean, are there any?
Nothing I can see. I mean, they don't want to ever do the death penalty again like SMU got, so they're going to go easier, and it'll be these little things like this, just enough, and but then people will still find another way to do something else again. And so I don't see it being a major deterrent. People know they're looking at it now and they're looking for, but you see also how we protect against it now. All the schools do, holding up blinders and things to block stuff out. So it's like, it's a lot of gamesmanship, and I guess it's part of it, but it is galling that they were able to get away with it to the tune of a national championship. And then, okay, now he skips away and we're okay,
Right. And he claims to be a Michigan man, an honest, working hard guy who loves the state, and then he hightails it to the Rams.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. I think, yeah, Justin, they should lose bowl eligibility.
That would be huge if they could even do it. I feel like that's a thing almost where a school would dispute it and fight it, and then they'd play it out in court for, like I just don't. That would be a good one. That's one of the best, and roster reductions too, if they can do it. It's just I wonder what pull the NCAA can even do on anything anymore. It just feels like they're just kind of there hanging out, watching it all just disintegrate.
Yeah. And Husker Bob says roster reduction should work. They should. There's all kinds of penalties. I mean, come on. You break the rules. These are in any game, right? There's like, if you cheat, you just don't get to play. Like we learned that as little kids. If you cheat, you don't get to play. You have to sit out.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's musical chairs, pin the tail on the donkey, what it is. If you cheat, you just don't get to play. And you certainly aren't a winner.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, Moore says it. Maybe shut the portal down for them.
Ooh.
For 1 year. Just do it.
He says no players should be allowed to enter the portal. Yeah. I mean, or coach limits, Husker Bob. I mean, guys, certainly any of these things we'd be happy with, right? Because if it's proven that this has happened, which it appears that it has been proven, then what can the punishment actually be?
Yeah, exactly. And forfeit wins would be good too. But again, so what do you do then? Do you take away that national championship? Or how do you attribute the cheating equated to the wins that they got from the cheating? Like it's, I mean, in the olden days, they would just, if somebody violated, they could strip away wins. I think they did it to Bama a couple times before they got good again. And, so there's that. But I honestly don't feel like they have enough. The NCAA is pretty feckless at this point. They just are watching everything happen. And I don't think they even care anymore about trying to govern, because they let NIL and the portal kind of rule the world at this point. It is, again, we've said a billion times, the Wild West.
Mm-hmm. It is. If that's the whole point right there. Like as a kid, if you get caught cheating, like Diamond Dave said, forfeit the wins is what would happen if I was cheating in checkers. So if you get caught cheating at checkers as a kid, you forfeit those wins, right? And other people just don't want to play with you. Maybe that's what happens. Maybe they cancel the games.
I think the bowl eligibility would hurt, because if they were in contention for the playoff, then that's it. You're stuck. So that'd be a good deterrent. Now, maybe that's the easiest one they could levy against them.
Mm-hmm. It certainly kind of chaps my hide. I could care it. I mean, I'm a little bit like Pitt's night, because he said, for Christ's sake, this thing's been going on forever, and I just want it over and done with so I don't have to hear about it anymore. I get that, because that's how I felt the first time around. Now I'm hearing about it all again, and I'm like, okay, just stop already. But then you see all these Michigan fans acting like they are legit and should not be held to the standard. And it's like, wait a second. Where do you get off? Just because you're in love with your team and they went and won that national championship, let's take a closer look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Because is it all really fair? Would you feel the same way if Nebraska did that? And then, of course, people are like, well, Nebraska should never even be in the Big Ten.
Yeah, they'll say that just to be spiteful. It's with Michigan. Yeah, I don't know. I remember when all this first happened, the Stallion thing first came out, and John talked about watching them on Twitter just eviscerate themselves, the fans between Ohio State and Michigan, cheating and not. And it's like, to me, you're both kind of a bunch of asshole groups, really. I mean, Ohio State had their run where they did some things that were not as dire as this, but they were doing some paying players and some oddball things, and with Tressel. And then, I don't know. Everybody has their skeletons. People come at us for a couple, three things, but we never overtly did something like this, So yeah,
that's exactly what I said. Not
so
in
they
those,
cannibalize
not in those
themselves.
exact words, but essentially I said, you know what? I don't care. I'd rather have an honest team that I'm a fan of. So there. And Highlander Gun with the best resolution to this problem. He says, force Michigan to hire Scott Frost.
That'd be pretty funny, just to see him have to wear those colors after politicking so hard against them, and rightfully so back in the day. But yeah, that would be. Thing is, I don't think he ever sees a Big Ten job again. But yeah, I would enjoy that. That would be fun. That would make that rivalry next level, if somehow he landed there.
That totally would. That's a good one. Yep. Well, that actually was a pretty good suggestions, you guys. Thank you, Tony. Yes, we know we belong in the Big Ten. Minnesota has played Nebraska more than Ohio State in football. I didn't know that.
I've lost track. I've blocked a lot of it out over the years since we've been here, so that's probably true.
Yeah. And we know we belong in the Big Ten. Heck, I mean, we have other news regarding college football playoffs having to do with Nebraska. So we'll save that for later, though. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to move on to the happy news. The happier news, I should say. It's that we got a new kicker.
Oh, yeah.
This guy. Kyle Cunanan. You're just
looks like a kicker, all right.
You know what? He's not even that big in comparison to other football players. He's only, let's see, this guy's only 5'10", 165 pounds. But you don't have to be that big to be a kicker.
Nope.
It's okay. The thing about Kyle is he actually hails from Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh.
Yeah. And in fact, get this. So where I live in Phoenix. I live right next to a mountain. And on the other side of this mountain, it's a big mountain. I hike there a lot. On the other side of this mountain is a little town called Sunny Slope, which has been annexed into Phoenix for the last several years. Anyways, there's a high school there that is well known throughout Phoenix, throughout Arizona, for being one of the best high schools. That's where this kid went. He went to Sunny Slope, just on the other side of this mountain.
I don't have a Mac, but I'll thumbs up anyway.
Oh, yeah. I know. Isn't that awesome? I'm like, wait, he was right there? And
so it's the best school as far as, like, they put out a good football team, or just overall it's like a great educational experience? Or
yeah. As far as, like, public schools go, people get in, like, a list, like on a long list to get on into that school. So, and in fact, this kid also started out, he went to Charlotte in North Carolina, and he spent 2023 and 2024 there. And you guys are going to laugh, but this is such a small world, I feel like, because Diamond Dave, my spouse, also went to Charlotte. And Diamond Dave's here with us.
Oh, it's Diamond Dave.
Hey, Fred. I remember you from Lincoln.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Good to see you. You guys have to leave me on because you can't find anybody that's went to Charlotte.
No, yeah, nobody. I've never met anyone else that's gone to Charlotte. So yeah. David,
well, we weren't exactly
I was laughing because I was talking to you earlier about this, and you're like, you know why I went to Charlotte? And I wanted you to tell everybody why you chose to go to Charlotte.
Well, I could only go to NC State or Charlotte because they're the only two that had engineering, even though that's not what I graduated from. But there were no girls at NC State. I went to a party there. It was 90. They said, "Hey, it's 94% guys." I said, "Goodbye," and I went to Charlotte because they didn't have a football team. I figured my odds would be better. So at 17, I was scheming, but I didn't realize then I'd end up I would screw it up all by myself. It didn't matter if there was football players or not.
I appreciate and applaud the logic that you use to choose your school. That's sound reasoning.
I was a Husker fan since I was a little kid in Omaha. And so I didn't like North Carolina football teams. I laughed at them and said it was a joke. And I even went to a Oklahoma Carolina game and was pulling for Oklahoma just because I don't even like Oklahoma. I was just snickery because I was like, you guys are going to get slaughtered. And it was like 80-3 or something.
Yeah. North Carolina was not good for a long stretch. They'd have some good players every now and again, but they really didn't do much till about Mac Brown's time, at least for my estimation, but I could be off on that.
Yeah, so I did go to Charlotte, but we didn't have a football team until after I left. So
Yeah, 2013.
yeah, that was a long time.
They're FCS now. Hey, so 1970s child says Van Halen comes to mind. Diamond Dave.
Yeah,
And
that's what it was named. The nickname came in college when because I was listening
at
to Van
Charlotte.
Halen all the time. Yeah, and then Minnie saw all these emails on Facebook. Happy birthday, Diamond Dave. So she got me a license plate that said it. And I was like, I'm not putting this on my car. This is ridiculous.
Well, I
But
like
I
it.
did. So now I drive around with the Diamond Dave license plates.
They're fun. That's good.
Yeah. It's like I pulled up at 7-Eleven. Some old hag comes up to me. You must be Diamond Dave. I was like, yeah.
Okay, and this is why he's not normally on camera. He's definitely not
Never
politically
changed,
correct.
Diamond Dave. I love it. You sound like me. So that is awesome.
Oh my God.
Before I let you guys go, I will let you know. I got my MBA from Colorado, so I'm a CU alumni.
That's right. I did sense a disturbance in the force when I met you down in Lincoln, but we let it slide. We know you're on the good side now. So
I never went to a game. It wasn't undergrad, and I went to the Denver campus. I got accepted to it. So, you just can't change. You can't change what you like when you're older. And now it's just an embarrassment. And that is one thing. If anyone would be listening from Colorado, they need to welcome people that come on vacation and spend their money, because what they're pulling there is an embarrassment to the state. And it's a beautiful state. It's awesome there. And the school's great, but the people aren't. They're awful. So they need to change. And not everybody, but it only takes 9 out of 10 terrible people to forget about those 1 or 2 that are great.
Yeah,
Oh
I've
gosh.
never been to a game there. I've heard it's just a mess, even for somebody who's insane like me to deal with that. I would never go. Yeah, it's just not worth it.
That's why I didn't go. I just didn't care. I didn't really care who won. And then when it was game day against Nebraska, they hated me. They hated me. Everybody. You didn't have to be in Boulder, no matter where I was. Hey,
Dave.
Yeah.
Roger Moore says Colorado says hi.
Oh, yeah. See? Colorado's great. But, they just need. I mean, they're not going to do anything with Dion anyway. We're lucky we didn't get him, because I was one of the people that kind of wanted him. But I wanted Lane Kiffin, and that would have been pretty good.
I'd take Kiffin over Dion.
Yeah.
I'd take Dion's skills over Dion. Yeah.
They're loudmouths, but Lane Kiffin can put a pretty good team together and compete.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of
stuff. I mean, we haven't seen it. We've been waiting a long time. I've been waiting just like you forever, it seems like now.
He gave up. He gave up. I'll tell this story one day, David. But you gave up on Nebraska, and I brought you back to the fold.
Well, I was driving across Nebraska and got to Omaha, and I went in and told my brother, I said, when Osborne quits or retires, this whole thing could be over. And because we were always 1 or 2 in the country, even when we didn't win national championships. And I said, nobody lives here. It's just farms across the whole state. There's not many people. But on Friday night on the radio, they're listening to football, to high school football on FM. It was pretty cool. But it did end.
I differed because I was like Minnie back then, and I drank all the Kool-Aid, and I thought going to Frank was going to be seamless, and he was the pedigree because he, he played for Devaney, he coached with Osborne, and he was in the Orange Bowl against Alabama back in the day, and Frank was awesome. I don't have any problems with him, but I thought it would go on forever, and I was totally wrong.
I liked him
I
too.
agree.
I mean, we were getting blown out in the big games, and we snuck into that national championship. But
Yeah, that was brutal.
and I don't think anyone thought we were going to win. But I was still with that sliver of hope. What if we pull it out after we
I
got
did
blown
too.
out by Colorado to turn around and win the
Yeah,
national?
then they got on the field, and I was like, yeah, no, it's over.
Yeah. Well, we did. We have a 5-star quarterback, so when he develops and starts playing like one, I saw something that Michigan's quarterback sucked in spring training. So
Oh,
the spring game. So
Who
if
are
he
you
can't even
saying?
throw in the spring game,
Who are you saying? Michigan's quarterback?
yeah, there was some thing. The guy was saying how he was not used to the speed of college because he didn't even have he missed all kinds of throws in the spring game. He was terrible. And that's
wow,
a 5-star freshman. So
man.
it just shows, like with Raiola, it's difficult
Bryce
because,
Underwood. That's who you're thinking of.
yeah, you're playing high school. Now you're playing college. It's going to take time to be great. But and Raiola, like I watch you guys, he wasn't great last year, but he might be. And, like what happened when Tommy Frazier came to town. Whoa. But he was an instant success.
Yeah, he was much, much better than
Yeah.
Raiola, but
As soon as
What?
he got there, we knew we were going to start winning. It
yeah,
was
oh yeah,
like,
you could feel it.
Okay,
yeah.
you guys.
All right, I'll
Stop.
let you go.
It's good
That's
seeing
my
you, Dave.
plug on the great Tommy Frazier. And I'll leave before I start telling you how great Lawrence Phillips was.
Goodbye.
Because he was. Bye.
Bye, Dave.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, thought I was bad.
Yeah. This is what I have to put up with on a regular basis. Very opinionated person.
It's good. It keeps you grounded. It's good.
Okay. All right. Now you see partly the reason I am the way that I am.
I'm getting a better picture. It makes sense. Yeah.
Anyways, let's talk about that kicker, shall we? The transfer that we're getting. Okay. So he was at Charlotte. This kid is amazing. Let me tell you why. He only played 3 games in 2024. In 2023, he played all the games and he went 9 for 15 field goals and 16 out of 16 for PATs, 21 touchbacks. Then in 2024, he played in 3 games, like I said. He went 5 for 5 for his field goals and 1 touchback. His career long was 49 yards. He has a 70% field goal attempt ratio. 70%. What we need is that consistency in Memorial Stadium. And one of the things that I was listening to is that we have, of course, we have Tristan Alvano, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have John Hull. And I thought John Hull was doing a great job. But I didn't realize that he got injured.
Mm-hmm.
So he has an injured quad.
Yeah. I think that at the very least, I mean, 70%, I'd like something better. I don't know what an acceptable percentage is, but if we have 3 kickers and nobody leaves, it's good to have that kind of a bench, and he had some touchbacks. That's helpful too, especially in today's game. Because I think our special teams would be a lot better, with Ekeler, but still, you get a touchback, you don't have to worry about blowing the return. So,
yeah. Well, you have to keep in mind that first year he went 9 and 15 for field goals. I don't know what that looked like. Is it because, he's just now playing at the college level or what? I have no idea. But to go 5 and 5 in those first 3 games, and he's like, you know what? I think I need to put myself in a better position. And he pulled himself out of the rest of the games so that he could go into the transfer portal. And then he transferred to Cal, which is an FBS school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets there and he goes through all spring with them, and he finds out that his he wants to be in construction management, and they don't offer it there. So then, I know, it's like, wait a second. Don't
kind
you
of would have liked, I'd like a kicker that would do the research beforehand, or a player in general. Like,
exactly it.
I want to be an
Like, wait a
engineer.
second.
And then I go to a place and then I have engineering. It's like, that ain't too bright, but maybe he can, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that he's a quitter, Vince, but yeah, I'd like to maybe have him do a Wonderlic test and see if we can figure out what's going on over there. Because, I mean, I went to school for broadcasting, and if I decided to transfer somewhere and I still wanted to stay with broadcasting, I would see if they had broadcasting at the same school. But that's just me. And, I don't know.
It's kind of funny, but he did go to Charlotte, so that explains a lot. James Fordman says, Hull had only 5 touchbacks. Frost had 1,037 touchbacks on ladies' night. Okay.
That was just one season, James. That was just one season. That was 1 year out of the 5. So, yeah.
And then Roger Moore chimes in. Our former head coach needed to put himself in a better position. All right, you guys. Oh, jeez.
For that kicker, and the one thing I could say in his defense, don't know anything about him other than those numbers. It's possible they had shitty special teams just like we did. Maybe the snapper wasn't good. Maybe the holder wasn't good. Maybe they were making him try and kick some from further out. I mean, there could be other things.
Yep.
But you get him here, you get him with good coaching. You tell him, hey, we actually have construction here, so you can do that here, so you don't have to transfer again. Then possibly, he spikes up and he's better. It's depth. If we could build depth at any position the way it is nowadays and keep people, that's a plus.
Okay, we got to address this. Douglas Cody says we need 3 good quarterbacks, just 1 good kicker, except when they get injured, which now we have 2 that are injured.
Is Albano still hurt?
Well, he's supposed to have come back, but we've seen such little amount from him. I don't know how back he is. It takes a long time. When a kicker is injured, you remember Brian Buschini, he got injured. It took him a year to get back. And players oftentimes, they know when they're back. Like even Ty Robinson, he was saying that, when he got injured, he didn't feel like he was back, even though he was playing, until about 3 games in. Vince Watson also says 105 carrying, 3 kickers. We're not going to be held to that 105. We found out. It's not likely because of the judge wanting there to be some sort of grandfathering clause in there for the amount of players that are currently on the roster. She doesn't feel like it's fair.
Is that like what Bill Belichick does, or is that a different type of grandfathering?
It might be similar.
Okay. I don't know. Just asking. People in the chat will understand.
I understand.
Oh.
I get what you're saying.
Okay.
I trust me, I get it. Okay.
Oh, never mind. I saw the rugby thing, but I was thinking of something else. So no, Pit Snipe. Yeah. Rugby guy he's a linebacker that can punt.
We do have a guy that can play, that is a the guy with the cutoff shirt. What's his name? Jacob Bowers. The muscular guy. He got offered a scholarship to West Point for rugby.
Oh, okay.
Good memory, Pitt. Okay. Well, I'm excited.
It helps. It's good. Another decent player. And if he stays, we can build him into something. I got great confidence in Ekeler, with what he's doing. And, I'm happy with it.
I am too. I love that we got ourselves a long snapper. Somebody said something about long snapping earlier. Oh, Jay, your buddy Jay. He says, I think having a better long snapper will make a difference. Bad snaps equal timing and kicks.
Yeah, no, he's 100% correct. Hate to go back to the old days, but watch older games on YouTube when we were good, and you didn't ever think about a long snap. Didn't question it. For field goals, for punts, it was 98% of the time automatic and perfect. It was just a thing that was taken care of. And for a long time, it's become an adventure. And that's not a good thing. So, yeah, if Ekeler can shore that up, more power to him. That's one less thing you got to worry about.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. You know, I've never been in Memorial Stadium when it's windy, like they say.
Mm.
Have you?
Yes, yeah. And it's tough because as a fan, you can feel it, but then you look at the flags on the goalposts and they're not moving the way that you think they would be moving from where you're at. You know, because they're up higher and it's over here and all that. So it's like it may be, you know, needing some blue chew because it's down, but then all of a sudden the wind's off of us and the flag's like flying one way or the other. So yeah, it's the swirling wind thing you always hear about. So yeah, it's a real thing.
I forgot, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the comment section. If you would like to join, have a comment, you're welcome to do that. There's the link. We don't bite. Right, Fred? I mean, it's not as hard as people might think. I don't personally want to go on camera and talk, but if you have a question, like, you don't even have to be on camera. Like, you can just like click off of the camera. But just click on that link. It'll take you to StreamYard. You type in your name, and where it says video, you just unclick that.
Yeah, it's super easy. It's like 2-3 clicks and you're in.
Yep.
And you can always go off camera if not, you know, wanting to deal with that.
Yeah.
Boardman is right. The flags could be going in different directions. It's a real thing. Seen it before.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
All 4 flags could be moving in different directions. I have not seen that.
The first game I went to was against Missouri in '96, and it was kind of like sleet and rain and wind, and it was you didn't know, depending which way you were looking. Sometimes it wasn't like a deluge, but it was, yeah, it would have been a challenging day for, you know, a kicker.
I think that's interesting because all the games I've seen have always been in good weather.
Yeah, I mean, there will be some, but you get into the later part of the year, or just it's Nebraska, so you could have an early season game with some crazy wind. And like somebody else had mentioned, it's a bowl and the stadium's a bowl, so it will circulate. So it could possibly, because I always talked about the circulating winds at Giant Stadium, you know, same deal, and it's same for us.
That's crazy. Huh. Okay. Well, let's see here. Anything else on the kicker? Nope. I think it's pretty interesting. At least we have a real competition race.
Well, it's interesting to me that they're going for another guy. So that makes me wonder if somebody's not fully healed, or if somebody's thinking about moving on, or they just want to short up and have that much more depth, even though we have a roster limit. Like, that begs the question why we're pulling that dude in, you know?
Yeah. Hey guys, guess what? We got another buddy.
Uh-oh.
Husker Chuck is here.
Oh, wow.
Well, welcome, Husker Chuck. We got another buddy. Husker Chuck is here. Oh, you're on delay.
I'm going to have to work on my audio because I'm hearing things 3 times.
Okay. No worries.
I'm going to have to work on my audio.
Nice aquarium. Oh,
yeah, that's a cool background, isn't it? I love that he was coming on. That is so awesome. Pit Snipes like, Husker Chuck, good to see ya. Husker Chuck, woohoo. See, everybody loves this.
Roger Moore is making me feel less and less special, because last week when I was on, he said, now it's a show. And then he said, now it's a show when Dave popped on. Then he said, now it's a show when Husker Chuck popped on.
Yeah.
I'm feeling Roger Moore.
Get in line. How do you think I feel?
Man, Mm. It's okay, Roger Moore. I was the first. I'll take it. It's okay.
I was the first.
For Husker Chuck, it might have been if he had another device on, or if he had it on a TV or something, or if the headset on but the audio was coming out, that might have caused the triplicate audio for him.
Yeah, we still hear an echo. Are you going through your computer?
Yeah.
I think that's why. Because there's a delay on your computer.
There's a long delay, and yeah, I'm still hearing like three copies of every audio.
Oh, well then just close out of everything else and except for the StreamYard.
There you go.
Easy.
Although sometimes I hear 3 after I've had a number of these.
Of Moss?
3 Moss. Tres Moss.
Tres Moss.
Things just got better.
Awesome.
Oh, that was fairly real time. Okay, I think we've got it fixed.
Yeah,
Okay.
Now it's a show.
Now it's a show. Hey, Husker Chuck.
Hello. Glad to
Nice
join you.
fish. I could see him back there.
Thank you. Yes, this is a freshwater tank.
Okay.
The ones behind your salt.
Nice.
The rest of the room's still in progress. There's a construction project in progress. It'll be complete building a Husker wall.
Nice.
I am jealous.
Well, you'll get to see it when I get it done. I'll get back on the show once it's done.
Awesome.
Oh, very cool.
But I heard the invite and I'm like, well, I'll go ahead and give it a shot.
Cool.
Well, thanks for popping on.
Well, Husker football, I guess. Or are we talking baseball or
We're finishing talking about the kicker that's 70%, and we're happy about that for some reason.
We're happy about his first season. Like being a freshman, he went 9 for 14. Being his first 3 games, he went 5 for 5.
As a freshman, that is good. I'll give him that. It's okay.
Yeah. And his first 3 games, then he's like, you know what? I'm so much better than this. I got to leave and put my name in the transfer portal. I'm so much better than Charlotte, is what he basically was saying.
I got to say, slightly off that, but the punter that we had to let go because we've changed our style found a home in Purdue. And I'm actually kind of glad to see that he landed somewhere.
Nice.
Sorry, he's going to have to play us, but.
Yeah, because he wasn't was he a USC kid and he didn't rugby punt or Washington, UW. Yeah. That's right, yep. UW, yeah.
Yeah, he came here and things changed and he kind of got a raw deal and so I'm glad he was able to find a place. Wish him the best.
All right, now we also have one more person to add to the stage, if you don't mind. It's Mark Rogers from the Voice of College Football.
Well.
Look at this. Now it's a show.
Hello, Mark.
Hello.
I've watched you for a long time.
Appreciate that. How you guys doing?
Hey, Mark. Loved your book. Read it about a week ago.
Nice.
So, and I agreed with everything you said. So you can live. So yeah, it was, okay. Yeah.
I thought there was an accept coming.
No. I was over the moon with how well, I love the way you put it together with each different version of what could happen. And it actually made logical sense. And then, because a Nebraska fan, of course, a couple of times you kind of pushed us a little further in. I think it was the Virginia Tech year. You had us in the mix a little deeper, that kind of thing, which a lot of us thought the same. So yeah, but beyond all that fanboy stuff, I really thought it was a great book. I loaned it to my friend Jerry, who's going in for knee surgery because I wanted to have something to read. So yeah, very well done.
Glad you liked it. It's nice to hear.
We were just talking about the kicker that we got. We got a kid from Charlotte who actually is from Phoenix. And the reason we're excited about this.
By the way, South Dakota. Keep naming cities, Minnie.
No, he actually is. He's from just on the other side of this mountain, the high school we went to. And we're excited about him because he's a pretty good kicker. He has a leg on him. And both of our kickers that we've had have had injuries.
I'm not clear what Tristan Alvano's injury is, and it seems to have lingered for more than a year.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Husker Chuck?
Yeah, I'm a bit out of the loop on that one. What's the problem?
It's his inner air.
What's the area again,
The
Minnie?
groin
I
injury?
forget.
It's the groin area? Is that what
I
you're
need
saying?
a thesaurus. I don't know what
Yes.
that word is.
I didn't know that took so long to heal.
Apparently it does.
Takes even longer to say if you're on this show.
That's one of the 2 words you won't say, right, Minnie?
That's one of them. Yes.
Okay.
He has an injury that has been, he's been nursing it back to health. And then the other one that we got was doing pretty good, and then he injured his quad. So we're like, oh, shoot. And then we also have a new special teams coach from Tennessee who's like one of the best special teams in all the country. So he came back to Nebraska because he was a coach at Nebraska under Callahan, correct? Or was it Pelini?
I can't remember, actually. I think it was under Bo, and then he left, if I remember right.
I think you're
Chat
right.
will know, or Husker Chuck will know. I lost track of him. It was nice to have him the little bit we did, 'cause they had a lot of videos about all the stuff he did, and he was a real hyped guy. Then he's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's under Bo. Yep.
So now we're excited because he is like gun-ho. He is going to get special teams situated. All those close games that we lost they're going to be in our rear view mirror.
Evaporated like that.
Isn't it interesting that we have a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, and new special teams coordinator, and everybody's fine? Nobody's like, oh, it's going to be all chaos. I'm not. I'm fine with it. I just think it's interesting that we've made all these changes, yet everybody's quite comfortable with it.
I think we're so beat down from the mess we've had with a few of these spots that we are, Holgerson, obviously pedigree, Ekeler pedigree, new DC, he kind of gets the same scheme. He did great in the NFL pedigree. So it's like, I think we feel a little bit better.
Well, maybe it's the fact that people feel like we've upgraded in all those positions, or at least stayed as good as we had.
Better, Husker Chuck.
Well, I said upgrade in every position. DC defensive coordinator. We'll see if that's better, or if we can maintain what we had.
Well, I think we're going to actually be better on defense because it appears that we have the guys on defense, even more so. And Vince Watson says the Kool-Aid runs deep, especially in my house.
A quick question for Mark, because I watched when you were on a few weeks back, got the book. What did your channel actually? What do you cover? Because I've not gotten back to your channel since. Like, what do you cover in general? Like, just everything essentially?
Yeah. So we've got a lot of channels. So we have a lot of team channels. Now, my channel that you primarily see me on is, it's a national channel. Do a lot of ratings and rankings and reviews and Big Ten quarterback rankings, and try to cover the news and give our analysis of the news. And that's pretty much the deal.
Oh, cool. Got to check it out.
Perspective.
There's so many things out there anymore. It's like I had to pare down what I watch on YouTube because there's just so much of everything. So it's like I used to do seemingly dozens of shows and watch things, and it's like now I got to get it down to 3 or 4. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna hit your stuff up because you put a ton of concise research into it, and I enjoy that instead of the frivolity of some things and the hype.
Yeah. I like Mark's show. He does a show Monday through Friday at 4:00 Eastern, right?
Yes.
And what I like about it is there's fans from all over the place. I mean, I've now become friends with people who are Michigan fans, Iowa fans, Florida even.
Hell's the matter with you?
Well, they're actually kind of decent people until they talk negatively about Nebraska.
Don't fall for it.
But it's
Wait
kind
till
of
the
cool.
season starts.
It's kind of cool to see all these, everyone's kind of on board and interested in the same stuff. It's like, how is this going to affect my team? What's going on here? And it's really neat. I love it. So it's about an hour long and it's always live. So I like that too.
Ooh, does it have a live chat?
It does. That's
Oh,
what I'm
man.
talking about. That's what I live for. You know
Challenge
that.
accepted. You've been warned, Mark. I'll be there.
Yeah, it's dangerous at times, but Minnie throws out some zingers. She can stand her ground.
Yes.
I must say, Mark, you must put in hours and hours of research. I don't know how you come up with all those stuff. It's pretty good. I've been impressed over the years.
Wow.
It's not easy to do that with that many different teams. I mean, somebody can follow their own team very intensely and know a lot about their own team, but you're doing it with a lot of them.
We have fortunately found hosts for a lot of these various team channels because I was up to hosting 17 shows a week about a year or two ago.
Hey, Mark, there's some people who have specific questions for you. Roger Moore wants to know, does Mark predict a win against Michigan? And Stephen Fromm also said, I wonder what our chances of beating Michigan now that their head coach has been suspended for the game.
Well, I guess we should mention, unfortunately, that Michigan's 6-0 when they have assistant coaches on the sideline in the last couple seasons. So they're used to this. They, as I posted on Twitter, Michigan has most successfully established the in-game training program for assistant coaches becoming head coaches. They've gotten this down to a T, unlike anybody else, because they've had so many assistants that have had to be head coaches that this is nothing new to them.
I wouldn't expect it to affect them at all.
Yeah, I really don't think so.
I think it's kind of the same. I think they still have a routine around it. There's so many other people on the staff. It's, yeah, hopefully we can take a chunk out of that record when they come here.
Well, it's possible that Nebraska could take a little bit of, incentive from the fact that Michigan would rather have their coach suspended for our game than for Oklahoma.
That ticks me off right there, Husker Chuck. Exactly that. Sherrone Moore is an alumni from Oklahoma. That's part of the reason probably that he wanted to go national coach against them. But also, okay, you're going to pick two games in a row, right? So it irritates me that he does it for Nebraska. Just gets under my skin.
That Oklahoma game, is it a road game or a home game?
A road game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. But it's a road game for us when them coming here. So, yeah.
I think that's going to be a tough game for Michigan.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah.
What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, going to Oklahoma, that will be a tough game. It should be a rock fight. I do not expect a whole lot of points to be scored in that game whatsoever.
More personal fouls than points?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and Oklahoma's not what they were. They're trying again, but it's like they went to shit last year, and it's kind of good. Bring them back down a little bit, but I do hope they beat Michigan. I know you're supposed to root for your own conference and everything, but some of that loyalty's out with me, and it's like, yeah, let them get beat. I don't care.
It might knock their confidence down a little bit going into our game.
You'd hope so.
This is a big game for us, Mark. It's our first conference game. There's two, right? Yeah, there's two. And we've just gotten pummeled by Michigan.
Not always.
Well, recently.
There was that game in 2021
That's what I was talking about.
What, 32-29
Thank you.
game
That's it.
in
That's it.
Lincoln?
See, and you know this off the top of your head, don't you?
Yeah.
Knows it better than I do, and I'm a Husker fan, but I think I blocked it out. So, yeah, that's pretty good.
How does he do this?
The other ones,
the other
ones were pretty rough.
Have you been banned from Vegas? Are you like Rain Man where you can count cards and
He's
stuff?
counting cards. Yep, he's counting cards.
We
Sometimes
did
I
get
wish
Michigan
I was
in
banned from
62.
34-3 and 45-7. I'm about 99% sure those were the other two more recent games.
That's insane.
So yeah, those are the ones you're talking about.
I'm just going to remember 25-13.
Oh yeah, that. Oh man, what year was that? 80.
62.
Oh, 62. Okay.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah. Okay.
I was
was
doing
Bob
the Rolodex
Devaney's second
on that
game.
one, and I couldn't come up with it.
Bob
Okay.
Devaney's second game at Nebraska as coach.
Yeah, I was -13 back then, so I didn't see that one.
All right, Mark, you're here, so we got to take advantage of it. Matt says, I'm curious to know what Mark thinks our record will be at the end of this coming up season. Sorry if he already mentioned it.
Well, let's understand that I don't make predictions in May, but I'll call it a projection. How about that? I think I looked at the schedule just a few weeks ago, and I thought I was pretty comfortable with 8-4 with a shot to go 9-3.
Exactly.
And Vince Watson wants to know, Mark, as a non-Kool-Aid swilling outsider, I love that you put that first. What is the biggest holes you see with the Huskers?
Probably quarterback, right, Mark? I mean, I'm just throwing things out there.
Is this like an inside joke here? Is this?
It's
I've
still
taken
in
my shots
Iola.
with Dylan, and
Minnie's especially fond of
Minnie
Dylan.
didn't appreciate it.
Minnie will slash your tires if you talk bad about Dylan. I'm just
I've experienced that.
sharing that.
So I tried to take it easy on him. It was his freshman year, but it wasn't real pretty. So he's got to get better. I got to say, I haven't taken a deep dive on Nebraska football to really know what's been lost. I know 2 players to the NFL draft. And I do think that the wide receiver from Kentucky, Dane Key, was part of a really good wide receiver core, and he's a good player. But, yeah, I can't say that I'm well schooled on Nebraska 2025 yet.
It'd be the offensive line for me. I would say that without.
That's so not it. You guys, Stephen Fromm has it nailed right here. He knows.
Okay.
He says probably running back.
Running back depth, perhaps.
Depth. That's the
running
only
back
reason.
Depth, but overall offensive line still.
And quarterback depth, to be honest.
You can put it on whatever today's date is, May 5th. Yeah, Cinco de Mayo. And we can come back to it once we get into the fall. When we get to about October, and when our center gets hurt or our one tackle gets hurt, and then we get to flip-flop people, and then Dylan's, waddling for his life back there. It's like then we know it's still the O-line. I like to believe that we have good depth and we have good players, but it seems like it's still the same thing, and it's very threadbare at each position. So, yeah, to me, that's the biggest. And D-line, but just because we lost 2 really awesome dudes. Mm-hmm. But I think they'll still be very good. D-line.
We have Elijah Judy. I mean, Mark, I've gone over this on your channel. I can go over it again if you like and tell you what the problems are, you guys. I don't agree, Fred, with the offensive line having issues or having threadbare depth, as you put it, because right now, I mean, we didn't even have like 7 guys playing the offensive line on the offensive line for spring.
That's cause for concern.
No. It's because there's
Thank you, Husker Chuck, for
coming off of injuries.
Reading my brain.
I would say that I'm mostly concerned about our depth at tackle and even at first string. for tackle. I'm not at all comfortable at all where we're at. Garden center, I think we've got some guys there that can do the job. If we've got Pritchett over at left tackle, that means we don't have anybody better than him to play left tackle, because he should be over on the right, in my opinion.
Or
that's just going to be a sign right now. If we
Lutovsky.
have him playing at left, then we
Yeah.
are real thin at tackle.
Lutovsky can take either side. But okay. High Mountain Guy has a couple of comments. He's also concerned about the running back. And he says if Emmett Johnson is very good, but then who? Better hope he can stay healthy. And also he isn't a bruiser.
Right.
That's kind of true. So and we know we want to run the ball.
We're going to run the ball, but it's going to be draws and screens a lot.
We're going to run the ball just enough to keep teams honest.
Yeah, it's not going to be the olden days. I mean, still, you don't want fragile running backs, and you like guys that can run up in there and take contact. But I don't know. I'm still not as concerned about running back as I am the people that are making the holes for him.
Okay.
You kind of wonder why that wasn't addressed. Running back.
Yeah.
Well, there was an effort made from one guy.
Charmar Brown.
Charmar,
yeah.
Which is funny because Charmar Brown sounds like the type of wings that Brent Bielema would order like over and over again. But yeah, we didn't get Brown. But I'm fine with our running backs. I'm not concerned. Got Quentin Ives. You know, you got EJ. I think it'll be fine.
Well, there was the one year just recently where we had 3 injured running backs. So I don't know how you can just be fine with one that's a proven guy and then one that hasn't been proven.
I just have
confidence. Yeah, Dowdell transferred.
Yeah, we lost him. Well, gosh, Roger Moore, you're all over the place. First, I was the voice of reason. Now Mark is. He's tapping out.
Mark, did you know you're the voice of reason?
I'm the voice of reason. I didn't think I had said enough to show any reason or lack of reason.
Shows how low the bar is.
Roger. Maybe Roger's seen me elsewhere.
I think he's talking about your not giving us too much, 8-4, doable, and possibly 9-3. You're not 10-2 like the rest of us. Me?
Yeah, I've overestimated Nebraska's win-loss record just about every year.
As have we all.
Forever. Yeah. I used to do a Nebraska show every week, and like all the preseason, you know, you guys, I'm sure, get hit with that question more than any. What's our record going to be this year? And coming off of 4-8, 3-9, 5-7, whatever it was that particular year, I was usually in that 7-5 range. Like, okay, they have to be better. This team's too good to lose 7 or 8 games. They'll be better. They added X, Y, and Z. They'll be 7-5. And I would usually get kicked around because that wasn't good enough. We're going to be 9-3 or 10-2 this year. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Haven't seen those records in a long time.
Pit Snipe is not a fan of the wishbone.
Well, if wait, I want to do this comment real quick. Living in Omaha, David Matney says, does it seem like we have more injuries in the current era than in the past?
Not to me. Concussions are a bigger deal.
It felt like we lost a lot of guys in rules first year, wide receiver and running back, but some of that might have been too that they actually were, God forbid, pushed harder than they had been previously in practice and everything else, and they got beat up and it caught up to them. But I don't feel it's been much larger, but it's been more glaring. It seems like we've had a couple of swaths, like the wide receiver stretch rules first year and running back, then a little bit with the quarterback stuff. But I don't know that it's been much, much worse than any other time.
We just really did it in for High Mountain Guy. He says, okay, after this conversation, I'm even more concerned about running back.
Sorry, High Mountain.
It's probably the second most critical position that we keep our main guy healthy behind, obviously, quarterback.
Yeah. Thank you. I think that's
there's a big
true.
drop off between first and second string and quarterback. So let's keep those two guys healthy and we can go a lot further this season. But yeah, that's the two positions I have most concern about injury.
Well, let's see. We don't have to play Ohio State this year.
That helps.
And
Oregon.
yeah.
Or
yeah.
Illinois.
Is Penn State on the schedule?
Penn State
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Had to play somebody.
Yeah.
We have to go there.
Michigan,
That'll-
Penn State,
Yeah, that'll be a lot.
USC, UCLA.
Yeah.
That team to the east.
I'm agreeing with Mark. I've said this since forever for this season. 8 wins is acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Still wouldn't be super happy about it, but that's about what I think we can get. I'd like to stretch goal be 9. It's a bummer. Stretch goal should be like 10 or more, but I think it's 8 or 9 wins at best.
I think most Husker fans, I may be speaking out of for more than I should, but I think most Husker fans would say 8-4 is okay, but they're not thrilled.
It's so weird, you guys. Look at where we've been. Just
That's
in
only
the
a
last
one-game
decade.
improvement over this year.
I mean, you guys and your
We shouldn't be basing our goals off of what we did under Scott Frost.
That's right.
There's that name I was waiting to hear.
Stephen Fromm. Scott Frost was able to beat Penn State.
We have a surprising record against Penn State since we joined the Big Ten. I think it's like 4-1.
Yes.
That's wild, really, thinking about it.
This is okay. This I didn't even know. It's 4-1.
Yeah. We played one year where we were like 0-6, 0-5 or 0-6, and so were they.
Uh-huh.
That was a weird year. I think that was 2020. Was it 2020?
Oh, was it the COVID year? Yeah, that was that. Yeah.
This is awesome. This is really exciting. Of course, now they have, a really good team, really great coach too. I don't know what it looked like before.
Good, but it's like, I don't know. Mark would probably know better, but I know a lot of people that say that Franklin is kind of like their Pelini, and the fact that he wins exactly what he's supposed to, but then when he gets to most big games or games of note that they shit the bed. They don't do like Pelini did, where they'd have some game where you lose by like 50 and the running back sets a record or anything. But it's my understanding that's kind of like Franklin and the rap on him, at least what I know.
It seems to be. I mean, Mark, you're going to have to fill me on this one. How many times has Penn State been in the Big Ten championship game?
Under James Franklin once. No, twice. Well, they just went last year.
Just went last year.
2024, they won in 2016.
Okay.
You know what? This is invaluable. Having Mark here, it's so much easier than
Google.
I know. You're way quicker than Google.
You're looking at my phone every 2 minutes if Mark wasn't here.
I heard a reference to Melvin Gordon there. I hadn't heard of or thought of him in a long, long time.
Oh, yeah. Melvin Gordon. Yeah.
I think he's still running.
He randomly spikes a ball in my front yard just to do it. Yeah. It's like, can't quit scoring against Nebraska.
With Melvin Gordon.
He was a Wisconsin running back.
He scored like 8 billion touchdowns against us in one game. It was brutal.
He set an all-time rushing record in a single game against Nebraska. Fortunately for Nebraska, got wiped out a week later.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
It only lasted 1 week.
Couldn't even hold the record for a week. Good Lord.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Tony, Luke Fickell needs an extension. He got one. Didn't you just get one for 4 years? Which obviously they're just trying to keep him. I don't even know why they would do that. That doesn't even make sense.
I don't think he's going to work out there.
No.
Sure don't seem like it.
I didn't think so when he got hired because it's not the kind of a place where I think you can go install a air raid offense. I kind of wonder if we can, but we're
I
going to
just
try.
don't. It's so far removed for us. I feel safer for us than them. I mean,
We got a little better climate than they do, but
yeah. I don't get it. Like, that's amazing to me because they built it copying us, and then somehow that wasn't
it
good
was
enough.
generally working.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it, but they deserve to fail, so I'm glad. Let them lose.
Well,
They're on it. They seem to be on a team on a downward trend.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Good.
I set up Minnie for this question at one point, but she didn't answer me. We just kind of put it on the back burner for another time. So I'll ask you two guys as well. Do you have a hierarchy of hatred? So I'm hearing a lot of angst against Wisconsin. I assume it's there for Iowa. Minnie let me know that she can't stand Colorado, that they're number one on the hate scale meter.
There's a couple that go way back. Alabama, going back to the Bear Bryant days, starting in the 60s and through the 70s. Oklahoma was always a team that was respected, not hated. Notre Dame, that goes back even further. And then once we joined the Big 12, definitely Texas.
Mm-hmm. Out of the teams that you named, I mean, honestly, for all the Iowa hate, I make fun of Iowa and the cheerleaders and stuff, but it's like I don't hate them because they're too boring to hate. It's like
it's not hate, it's lack of respect.
It's the most boring rivalry I've ever seen. Like, I've gone to sports bars and almost fallen asleep watching the game, and it's not even because I'm drinking. It's just like they suck and they're boring, and we suck and can't do anything in the last decade. So that's like not one that everybody gets worked up about them. They know an Iowa fan. I don't care. You can talk trash all you want. It's like nothing. I hate Wisconsin because they beat us up. They've kept us from doing things we needed to do. So to me, that's high up there and kind of like insultingly so. Michigan, Ohio State flip-flop for me. It depends on what's going on per year. U-State, Michigan after 97. I hated Ohio State for a while. Now it's back to Michigan. Texas is probably my ultimate triumvirate of hate, like just because of how they ruined everything in the Big 12 and then beat us on top of it. That was like the most galling thing ever. I got some revenge because I was there in 1999 when we beat them in the Big 12 championship in San Antonio. So, I was there to heckle their stupid fans, and that was glorious. Jay Jasinski, if he's still in chat, he would be able to agree.
I had to sit through the 96 game.
Yeah, that 96 game. I broke a VCR because of that. Like, literally, I threw a remote at it, and then that wasn't enough, and then I just, like, put my fist through it. It was that bad. So, yeah.
We drove back from
James Brown.
We drove back from that game mad. So mad that we made it from St. Louis to Omaha in 5 hours.
Nice. You shaved off like an hour and 10 minutes there.
2.5 hours, probably.
Yeah, dang.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, there's a lot of Mark, you asked a really interesting question. I mean, you wanted an answer. People are going at it. But Douglas Cody says, I think this is to what you said, Fred. Bear Bryant said that Bob Devaney was the greatest football coach ever. Well, duh.
He would know.
He would.
Hello.
He also said the 71 Nebraska team was the best team he ever saw.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I also have to say that James Boardman agrees. Fred, I saved my hate for Texas.
Me too.
Yeah.
High Mountain Guy, Colorado, and nobody else is close.
Yeah. Colorado hates us probably more than anybody else, I think.
Roger Moore.
I don't know that it's mutual.
Yes, hate Colorado first. And then Pitt Snipe says, yeah, hate mostly for Texas with a few sprinkles on Missouri and Colorado. We know Tony hates Wisconsin. We know that. Actually, Tony, you should just change your name to Tony Hate Wisconsin. But he's a Minnesota fan, but he likes Nebraska a lot. P.S. Iowa sucks.
His last name kind of looks like Wisconsin.
It's
Oh,
not
don't
BYU.
say
Is that because of 1984?
Let's say Lashin sounds like that would be one of those giant linemen that always kicks our ass. Like, yeah.
And Roger Moore says that Colorado gas stations put Herbie Husker in the urinals. How could they do that to our mascot?
Remember, the university gets a cut of the purchases of those.
I hate Colorado too, but they're like that.
Yeah.
The freshman in college that has the first beer at the party, and they're annoying for like 5 minutes, and then they just go away. And that's like Colorado to me. Like, okay, and you're never anything anyway. They're like little Banny Rooster that talks, does really nothing. They're an annoyance. That's my 90s Husker coming out. Like, I just like, you don't exist. Like, whatever. Dion, his toes, all of it. Fuck them.
Do we hate Michigan? I think the consensus is, yeah, we kind of hate them. Really? After their cheating?
The cheating adds to it. That is true. And what's funny is I used to like Michigan before my skull hardened back when I was a young kid, because we had a satellite dish and they always showed Michigan highlights, and it was in the 80s and 90s. And I thought, man, that Michigan must be really good. And they'd never had won anything since like 1948. And so I was like, gosh, even back then the hype existed. So I didn't reminded them, but now after everything, it's like, I don't like them. I couldn't root for them unless they're playing like a Texas, you know.
They did go a long stretch being a quality team, but not winning a national championship.
No, Schembechler did a lot, and then Gary Moeller, but they never made any real noise, you know, nationally.
Yeah.
I do like what 1970s Child says. I don't think Moore elevates the Michigan program anyway. No difference in him not being there.
Yeah, I'd say that's very fair.
Anyone remember the Nebraska Michigan? What was it, Alamo Bowl? We had the crazy finish.
Yeah,
that almost went badly.
Yeah, Bill Callahan accidentally won a game that was kind of important. I mean, that was wild. That was my biggest takeaway.
All right. Mark?
Yeah, I can't say that I really hate Michigan. I don't. I do see the hate that goes between Ohio State and Michigan, and I don't think we are looking for a team to hate. We're looking for a team that respects us, that we can respect, that is going to compete for championships, like we had with Oklahoma. We haven't had that
again. I don't know.
We got to earn it first. We got to.
Yeah, we do, and somebody else does. But
there's teams that'll take. Glad maybe it's a Penn State, maybe it's an Oregon.
For Mark, aren't you kind of an Ohio State fan?
I know. Thank you, Fred. That's why I threw this comment up.
I read the book. I still remember.
And also, okay, so Roger Moore says Ohio State uniforms are worthy to hate. And then Kaylee Bartles, who always shows up with facts, says, I think when Ohio State tried to trademark the word "the," that got under my skin. Yeah. Mark, what's the deal with that?
What's the deal with Ohio University?
Am I supposed to answer this?
Yeah. You're the Ohio State expert.
Yeah, you're
not making decisions for the Ohio State University. They did that on their own. This is now known nationwide, if not worldwide, correct? So in a sense, it fulfilled its purpose.
Oh, it's true.
Which is recognition.
Yeah.
I suppose marketing.
There's a tinge of arrogance there.
Yeah. Well, they're definitely better than Ohio University by leaps and bounds. I don't know if that's always been the case. I don't really know how far back that goes. Did they ever play?
Oh, they've played. Sure. There's state legislation that Ohio State has to play an in-state school every year.
Oh.
And it cost them, ironically, the first year that it was enacted in 1998, because they played Toledo, who was one of the worst teams in the country. And even though they beat them 59-0, the BCS formula knocked them down to number 3 because of the weight on that strength of schedule, and it cost them a spot in the BCS championship game, the very first one.
Huh.
Wow.
Look
Did
at
not know
this.
that.
I didn't know they were required to play. I'd never heard that they were required to play a team from Ohio every year. Always a
State
home game for Ohio
legislation.
State.
Oh, yes. They're
Well, I'm
not
sure it
traveling
is, yeah.
anywhere.
Douglas Cody goes.
That wouldn't make sense. Yeah.
I could see it.
Well,
It'd
we've
be
played
like,
in Wyoming.
yeah, I could still see it. It'd be like us going to McNeese State. We're never going to do that, you know. So yeah,
did
they're
play
always going to
Southern
go to the
Miss once.
horseshoe.
Yes, Nebraska's taken some. I'm actually surprised how many big elite schools have gone to group of 5 schools and played. Ohio State has never done that.
Really?
I know
I
in the
don't
case
know
of
that
Southern
Michigan
Miss, we got a
has.
2-for-1 deal where they came here twice and we went there once.
Yeah, we've had a couple of feels like where we've done that. Yeah.
Wyoming's another one. Yeah.
Yep.
Wyoming's kind of a different deal because the western half of Nebraska, Wyoming and Colorado are actually closer to go to games than Lincoln. So they don't mind those road games to those schools.
Wow. So Mark, since you asked us who our, least liked team is, it's fair that we ask you.
Well, that's easy. He's the team up
Yeah,
north.
there's really only one.
I just want to hear him say it.
Well, to give you a little history here, so I started this channel a long time ago, and for the longest time, and I regret the day that it came out that I let loose, people didn't know who I rooted for. They couldn't tell. They couldn't guess. They couldn't anything. I had actually comments to videos where people would say, get on me for hating on Ohio State. And I thought it was amusing. And I figured, well, I must be doing my job. But I let it out one day. And I regretted that. Because the problem is that if I was a Purdue fan, then I could kind of keep them to the side and do all these rankings and national analysis. But Ohio State's kind of in the middle of everything.
They're sort of relevant.
They're just kind of in the middle of everything. So I got to take a stand on them, and I got to try to be neutral, but it's not necessarily seen that way by everyone. So kind of works to my disadvantage, I think.
I will say that I did not know for quite a while when I was watching it. Didn't have any idea which team you were a fan of because it was very, very even keeled and very neutral on seemed like everyone.
Oh, if I may say this, Minnie, I actually made a declaration a couple months ago. My team of 2025 that I'm rooting for.
I know.
You could be guessing forever.
No, I know who it is.
Do you know for sure?
I think I know.
I'm looking for a T-shirt.
Yes, I know who it is.
Purchase.
South Carolina. It's the Gamecocks. No, it's not the Gamecocks.
You're in the right state.
Clemson?
There's a reason for this.
It's because I know why. I've been watching.
No, you don't know. You think
Appalachian
you know.
State.
No, it's because of the concessions.
Yes.
See, I told you I know.
Coastal Carolina is
Carolina.
giving away free concessions this year. And I thought that was tremendous. They are giving away free concessions, like quite a bit, to everyone in the stadium. So my first thought was, they must be trying to fill their stadium. So I expected to look up their attendance and see 8,000-10,000 empty seats every game. No, they were over capacity for their season last year. They sold out every game, and they're still giving back to the fans free concessions this year. That's my favorite team this year.
That is
Wow.
That's a story and a half. James Boardman says, Mark, what is your take on the 105 roster limit? When we actually get to that, if we ever do.
My take is that I back what this judge is attempting to do, and that's phase it in or grandfather the athletes that are already on scholarship or are on roster to finish out their playing careers and their eligibility and to preserve them, and then institute the roster limitations past that. That's what I'm for.
Seems incredibly unfair to the coaches to not give them rules that they know how many players they can have going into a season.
They should just have unlimited. Just do away with all that.
I heard your favorite coach, Kirk Ferentz, the other day complaining that they've been acting on this for a few months, and now it appears as though they didn't need to act upon it for this season.
It's a
A lot
horrible
of teams
situation.
like that. Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a
A lot
horrible
of players
situation.
too jumped ship because they figured they weren't going to be able
This
to
one.
make a roster.
Yes.
Living in Omaha, David Matney says, didn't Joe Moglia coach at
Moglia. Yep.
Coastal Carolina? Is he the
Yes.
coach?
He did. More than a few years back now. Yeah. He kind of got him built back up to prominence.
What else about Coastal Carolina do you like? Or is there a chance you might come over to Nebraska and root for us?
Me?
Yeah.
Only if we beat Michigan, right?
Maybe if you give free concessions. I don't know.
There you go.
I'll if I go to a game and I'm treated well,
Oh, we'll treat you
and
well.
it's a fun atmosphere.
Oh, we're fun.
That's a guarantee.
Oh, yeah.
We are
All the
a lot of
roses and
fun.
Valentinos you can stand.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in that order.
1970s child said, I skipped watching the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball game to watch this tonight instead. This is way more interesting than the Pirates. Wow. Yeah, look at that, guys.
You beat Major League Baseball.
A round table of Husker football and other football.
You can include me tonight.
Yep, your
I love
other
Nebraska
football.
history.
How's that feel, Mark? Other football.
Other football.
Tonight you're part of the Husker community.
Yeah, honorary member.
Honorary Husker for tonight.
Nebraska football helped me write my book. They were
Yeah.
very prominent.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
I don't see a Husker helmet on that shelf back there though.
Oh, there is one.
I'll help you out here. You get you set up somewhere.
Uh-oh.
I got a Wisconsin helmet for you.
Here comes all the hate.
Oh, that.
Okay,
There
there
you
we go.
You probably can't see it because I'm.
It's visible.
There we go.
There you
All
go.
right.
Oh, nice. Put it front and center.
You got to know
That's
what
beautiful.
show you're going on. Prep these things.
You're right.
Mark, just so everyone knows, I don't know if everyone's gotten a look at your book. I don't have it handy. I wish I did. But
It's
it
only
is
sitting
called-
right here.
There we go. The Disputed National Champions. And it is golden. It's about the 90s. And I mean, basically, talks about Nebraska a lot.
Well, you can't talk about the 90s without Nebraska getting in there somewhere.
Mhm.
A lot. Yes.
2 split nationals, 90-91 to start that decade.
Yeah,
I
that's
hated
incredible.
I hated split national championships.
Oh, the book was a good trip down memory lane from some of those early ones. Yeah, it was good stuff. Made me remember the Colorado and Notre Dame and Miami and all that stuff. And yeah, it was very, very good stuff.
Thank you, sir. It was easy to write, but I will say these scenarios were kind of complicated to work through in my head, and I would have to take everything into consideration. And many times I had to kind of rethink it and back up and say, no, that wouldn't have happened because they would have been over here in this conference. And so I'll say one little additional plug is for you folks who don't care about history. It's not just a history book. It's half history book and it's half taking all these seasons and plugging them into the future iterations of the BCS, the 14 playoff, the 12-team playoff, the proposed 14-team playoff, just to see how fun and interesting these seasons would be. Like if they were played now, the same season, what it would look like in the playoff.
How far back did you go?
I did the 1990s, 90 through 99.
It was an education for me because I wasn't a college football fan then. And just even learning about the process was like, what? Are you kidding me? We used to vote on this crap? Like, who does that?
Well, and then like you called out too, how it evolved. Like you said, there were more changes to the way it was figured out in that decade than before, so it was like it had been so stagnant. And then, Bowl Challenge series and different iterations of pushing towards it. And I think they got to what was the Tennessee Florida State game was like the first real championship, and then it evolved from there. So yeah, it was pretty cool, because that's when I was also kind of starting to fall out of it, because we were starting to flag a little bit, and if we're not involved, and I was like, but yeah, it was pretty cool the way you were able to project how it would be for BCS, then 14 playoff, and or the 12 team monster playoff, and who'd win. I mean, most of your projections still ended up being, well, I won't spoil the book for people, but yeah, it was good.
So what I'm not understanding, Fred, is you said that you started to kind of taper off when Nebraska, and they didn't really taper off during that entire decade. They were, and you're here on this show. You haven't tapered off after all this.
20 years later.
Mental illness, I think, and lazy alcoholism, and probably a little bit of CTE. There's a lot of factors that have kept me on board.
All right.
And probably this show coming years back kind of pulled me back in too, because it was a place to commiserate. Because it was Monday Night Therapy. We'd talk about how we usually lost the previous Saturday. So it was like, the community kind of kept me in, and a handful of friends that are still diehards. And yeah, so I don't know how bad it's going to have to get before I finally leave, but I'm still here, stuck with you.
Eternal optimist.
That's it.
If I'm ever invited back on this show, I will ask the two of you, what was that look, Minnie? I don't know. I can't assume anything.
Tonight, you haven't insulted me too much.
This could be it. I don't know.
Do it.
I will want to ask each one of you, when each coach was hired, your honest assessment at the time of that hire, in light of the way things obviously turned out, but how you, if you could, kind of filter the bias, say
that's a whole show.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's definitely next show, because I could drop 30 minutes on you for that. So yeah.
Yes. So I was just curious.
And next show, by the way, for anyone that is watching who may be interested in what we're talking about next week, we're going to have a special guest. And that is one of the assistant coaches that worked with Boyd Epley, the strength and training coach. Very excited about this. So make sure if you're free on the 12th that you're here at 8 p.m. Central. And I mean, guys, this has been a great show. Thank you all for coming. You've been
Minnie
fantastic.
has definitely upped the ante on special guests. She's going up the ladder considerably next week. I guess I was just a fill-in.
You're always welcome, Mark. And so are you, Fred, and Husker Chuck. And
I wasn't even on the agenda.
You're all welcome. I love having as many people as I can.
Aquarium, and boom, he's a fixture.
Well, Mark, I'll say, since I might not be on the show next time with you, that I remember a time when we hired a 35-year-old guy who'd never been a head coach before. And there were some people who were kind of concerned about, was he ready to take over? And he did fine. You know what I'm talking about.
You just gave me goosebumps. That was awesome. That was a good one.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait till next week. Can't wait to see the special guest. I think I know who it is, but I won't say.
I know.
I buy books too, so.
It's Tom Osmond. No.
Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome? You guys would be like, holy shit, she finally did it.
I couldn't even be in chat. I wouldn't be fit for that. I wouldn't want to offend Tom. So.
Oh, I'd be in chat.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who showed up in chat also. You guys are a great community, and I'm so glad that we can do this on Monday nights. And thank you, Mark and Husker Chuck and Fred, and for all of us here. Go Big Red. Have a good week.
Go Big Red. It was fun.